human rights group Amnesty International has accused Italian police of abusing migrants arriving on its shores from North Africa, abuses that include beatings and electric shocks. Amnesty blames the European Union's so-called hotspot system for creating conditions that lead Italian authorities to mistreat these migrants. Henry Ridgewell has this report.
Hotspot system. All migrants are meant to be fingerprinted and processed in frontline countries like Italy, allowing for a quick assessment of their asylum claims. But in many cases, migrants refuse because they want to claim asylum in other European countries, which is currently against EU law. 24 out of 170 migrants interviewed by Amnesty said they had been abused after refusing to give their fingerprints.
Ill treatment included beatings, but also the use of electricity, the discharge of electricity by means of stun weapons, and also threats of violence, beatings, or also permanent, prolonged detention.
Italian authorities try to separate genuine refugees escaping war or persecution from so-called economic migrants. But Amnesty says they take little account of the trauma many migrants have suffered on the journey.
They have very often suffered abuses, including torture, rape, and prolonged detention. When they arrive in Italy, refugees and migrants are requested to explain what are the reasons, but actually in that moment very often they are still too traumatized and they have not had access to sufficient information about their rights.
Failed asylum seekers can be forcibly repatriated,
including to countries whose governments are responsible for appalling atrocities. This is the case of Sudan, for example, with which the Italian government has subscribed a memorandum of understanding in August this year.
The EU insists it aims to uphold the highest standards of human rights when processing migrants. The head of its border agency, Frontex, said this week the bloc aims to expedite the returns of failed asylum seekers.
The agency uses these readmission agreements negotiated by the Commission at EU level. So as soon as we have an EU readmission agreement, we can, based on that, organize operations.
October marked a record monthly high for migrant arrivals in Italy, with over 27,000 people reaching its shores. Over 200 people have drowned in the past fortnight alone.